Right there guys, welcome back to the channel. So in my match reaction video it broke obviously that Joel Matip had ruptured his ACL and it seems like he could be out for the season. Now the question is, what do Liverpool do next? Obviously with the January transfer window coming up. You know, my heart goes out to Matip. He was in the last year of his contract. He was actually doing really well with us, I feel like, this season. And it seemed like he was trying to fight and earn some sort of contract, which there wasn't any sort of rumblings going on that this was on the cards, but still, the way he were playing, he could have earned himself another year, 2-year contract, I'd have thought anyway. But yeah, it seems like that he's probably played his last game for Liverpool now, unfortunately. And, you know, as I said, the question is now, what do Liverpool do? And the way I look at it, there's three options in what we do. Now, we either stay with what we've got, which, you know, we'd have Van Dijk, Kwanzaa, Konate and Gomez. Now, Van Dijk for me is becoming probably one of the best defenders in the league again. He seems to be replicating his form from 2 or 3 years ago now. The captaincy seems to give him a new lease of life for me. I like the huddles. I think he's an amazing captain. You know, not to, you know, make out that Jordan Henderson wasn't a good captain, but he seems to be just a really, really good captain for us and leading by example, especially with his goal as well the other day. He just seems to be back to the old Van Dijk. Then we have Kwanzaa, you know, a player that none of us really thought would play much this season, but when he has, he's impressed me. He seems to be taking on board what Van Dijk is obviously teaching him at the training ground and playing alongside him. You know, there was one moment in the last game in the Europa League, I think it was, where it was very reminiscent of what Van Dijk does. You know, where it's like, if Van Dijk's like the last defender and there's 2 attackers and he just like times it so he can either play that other player offside and he don't really commit himself until the last second. Kwanzaa did something like that, and as soon as I saw it I was like, that's Van Dijk. And then obviously we've got Konate and Gomez, who, you know, both of them are quite injury prone. Konate doesn't seem to be getting much games this season because of how good Matip has been playing, and Gomez for me, he's basically the backup player for 3 positions now. He's the backup right back, he's the backup left back, and he's also the backup centre back. So we can't really rely on him to play regularly in the centre back position, because then who's going to give Tsimikas a rest until Robertson comes back? Which, you know, it could be quite soon, could that? Now, obviously, with the whole Matip situation again, we go with what we've got. We either recall either Nat Phillips or Reece Williams from where they're playing in Scotland, I think. Is it Rangers and Aberdeen? But they're not really playing. They're not getting much game time. So they're really going to be match fit to be able to come back and do anything? Or is it just going to be a case of they come back and just, you know, if they'd needed, then we can call upon them? And then lastly, I guess, is do Liverpool go out and do something in the transfer market and sort out a position which we probably would have sorted out in the summer transfer window, but we bring it forward like we have done in the past with Luis Diaz and Cody Gakpo, both players that Liverpool wanted in the summer window after the January transfer window, but they brought them transfers forward and brought them in January. Now, John Cross here at the Mirror, who's the chief football writer, has put an article out yesterday, I think, yep, basically saying that Klopp has identified Lacroix, the Wolfsburg centre-back, who is rated at 25 million. Now, there's no sort of quotes in this article, so it could be quite speculative. But basically, he goes on to say here that Lacroix, 23, was born in France and represented his country at youth level, could be available at 25 million plus, and then but Liverpool would look to try and negotiate for any player into the final two. There's something missing in that sentence there. I don't know what it would. Liverpool would try and sign a player, basically, I think he's trying to say, in the final 2 years of their deal. He says that he's a powerful defender. Lacroix is a regular for Wolfsburg, who are currently mid-table in the Bundesliga, but at his best, he is known for being a commanding centre-half. And then he goes on to link Liverpool with the Crystal Palace defender Mark Guy, if that's how you pronounce his name. And he's likely to be sought after defender next summer, and Palace will not look to sell him in January, but Arsenal and Liverpool are likely to be in the market for a new centre-half next month. And he has big suitors, even if his club will demand a huge fee before considering whether to sell. So basically, you know, we've got 2 spectrums there. We've got Lacroix at 25 million and Guy, who's probably going to cost north of 50, you've got to say, aren't you, with the English tax on there. Now, they don't say AKM for nothing, guys. You know, I've been doing this for 18 months now. I don't suppose I've ever told you that, really. But you know now, 18 months. And I always kind of look, when a player's linked, at transfer market to see, you know, what kind of stats they've got going on. And Lacroix here, it says, has made 12 appearances in the Bundesliga with 1 goal and 1 yellow card. Now, he's pretty much played every single game and every single minute for them so far in that competition. And then in the German Cup, he made 3 appearances with 1 yellow card. And again, he played every single minute and started every single game in that. They're rating him at about 17 million, and his highest market value was 28. So again, and that's in euros, by the way, as well. So you're probably looking, again, like you say, the 25 million mark. His contract expires in 2025, which is the same time that Virgil van Dijk's contract expires, to be fair. And, you know, as I forgot to mention Van Dijk, he's probably one of them players who needs his contract sorting out pretty sharpish, you know, with his contract expiring the season after next, basically. So, yeah. Right, now, with him being linked and with this situation going on with what Liverpool do, I thought it'd be good to look at other players that Liverpool could potentially go at. Now, we have obviously been linked with Inacio so much over the transfer window in the summer, and he signed a new contract basically with a higher release clause in it, which I think is about £60 million now, I think. Or 60 million euros anyway. But he's more of a predominant left-footed, left centre-sided centre-back. Now, when we've got 2 players at right centre-back who are both very injury-prone, you'd think they'll probably end up looking for both now. Now, this guy's contract expires in 2027, but he does have that release clause of about 60 million euros, I think. And it's probably one to keep an eye on, guys, you know, is Inacio. He has played 12 games in the Portuguese league this season, 4 yellow cards. He's pretty much, again, played every single game with every single minute. In the Europa League, he's got 5 appearances, 2 yellow cards. And then, yeah, in the Portuguese Cup, he has just played 1 game and he only played like 5 minutes or something by the looks of this. He might just come on for like a substitute appearance. So he is probably a player to keep an eye on, but he wouldn't be one I think that Liverpool are going to go out and buy in January just because of how expensive that could potentially be. The other player that I would probably link with Liverpool right now is Antonio Silva as well. Another player who plays in Portugal at Benfica. He, again, was rumoured to have been looked at by Liverpool during the summer. He is also represented by that Gestifute agency, an agency that Liverpool have got a very good record with. Liverpool obviously have players, again, not to repeat myself, who are on that, who are represented by them, and Liverpool from the past players who have been represented by them, and a lot of players from them that Liverpool have been linked with in the past also. His contract expires in 2027, and he only signed the new contract last year, guys. He has basically played 11 appearances so far in the Portuguese league, 3 yellow cards and 1 goal. In the Champions League, he's got 4 appearances and 2 red cards. Bloody hell. So he's been sent off quite a bit in the Champions League this year. He is as well, of course, on the younger side. He's 20 years of age, while Inacio was 22, and Lacroix is obviously 23. They seem to be getting a lot younger the more and more I go on here, don't they? But I do think Antonio Silva has the highest transfer release clause in his contract. If I remember correctly, it's about 100 million euros or something daft like that. You'll have to put, I should have probably looked into that, but I'm sure it's like 100 million euros, maybe 120 million euros. It's really, really high for a young centre-back. And Benfica, of course, are very normally good at getting their value and their money for the players that are obviously linked with the bigger clubs. And then I've also got on here another player who plays in Portugal, and I haven't seen any links with this guy before, but he is very, very good. I've liked him a couple of times. I've watched him, and he's quite impressive, to be fair. And this guy is Usman Diomande. Now, he again is 20 years of age. He plays for Sporting. He represents Ivory Coast as well, the international stage. So, of course, we would lose him during the AFCON, which I think there's one this year, isn't there? Yeah, I'm pretty sure we lose Salah, don't we? For a few games this year in January. There's no one from his representative that Liverpool have ever been linked with or anything like that, so there's no sort of link there. This is basically just me putting a player out there. You know, we've obviously we watch Inacio, who plays for the same club as him, so you would also think that this guy would also potentially be on the radar, as he has played every single game. As Inacio, he's got 1 goal, 1 assist, 2 yellow cards, and that's just in the Portuguese league. And in the Europa, he's got 5 appearances, 1 goal, 1 yellow card. Again, this guy plays a lot, and he's 20 years of age, so he has the experience and is right-footed again. And his contract expires in 2027. He only recently joined Sporting here, it says here. He only joined them on the 31st of January this year, 2023. So he's not been there that long. But yeah, I would probably, guys, honestly, in all fairness, I'd keep an eye on this guy. He could be up and coming, honestly. Maybe a bit too soon to see him move this summer or this January, but a guy you need to probably keep your eye on. I really do recommend that you do with that. And then lastly, guys, a player that Liverpool have been linked with on and off over the years since Jurgen Klopp came in is Jonathan Tah. Now, he plays for Bayer Leverkusen. He's 27 years of age, and so he's probably on the older side compared to the rest of the players that I've just mentioned. He's represented by Gol, which has a couple of players on there that Liverpool have been linked with in the past. You know, I'm talking about Gabriel Vega here, Christopher Nkunku. Yeah, that seems to be it, really. There's obviously Robert Lewandowski on there and Mitrovic. So they've got some pretty decent players on here, to be fair. But yeah, this guy is having a really good season at Bayer Leverkusen, obviously top of the Bundesliga. He's played 12 games. He's got 3 goals and 4 yellow cards for them in the Bundesliga this year. And again, guys, very similar to Lacroix, his contract expires in 2025. And again, he is right-footed. So if we wanted to replace experience with Matip, this could be someone we go for. We wouldn't have the problem with him going off in the AFCON like Matip used to do. So he would be around all the time with no problems with him going off, unlike Diamande, who I've just linked us with. He's been linked with a lot of clubs as well, guys, in regards to a move like Spurs and Arsenal have also been linked with him. So I just think it's worth keeping an eye on him, just because of the past links with him, and yeah. But guys, what do you think is going to happen with the defensive situation? Let me know in the comments down below, guys. And if you've enjoyed this video, give it a like. And if you are new here, please subscribe to the channel to keep up to date with everything else I've got going on. And I'll catch you in the next one.